The myth about titanium dioxide is as old as the world itself, and one needs to understand the basics of color theory. All shades of brown come from three primary colors: blue, red, and yellow, as per Itten's color wheel. When healing, any pigment becomes cooler, which is a property of our skin, as well as the concept of the base. If a client has cool-toned lips and we need a warmer peach shade, we use the base we already know. It looks unattractive and remains in the skin forever, giving the lips a sickly yellowish tint. It has a very heavy molecule, which takes up a lot of space in the skin and takes a long time to leave it. Our task is to balance the skin, adding what it lacks. Ensure to like and leave comments and... Hello everyone. My name is Olga Hanafi. I am the creator of Hanafy Colors Pigments and a practicing permanent makeup artist with 20 years of experience. On our channel, you can find many interesting free educational masterclasses from leading experts in the field of permanent makeup. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for new videos, as this is a fantastic opportunity to learn about different techniques for working with various areas and to discover something new for yourself. In this video, I want to address one of the most important and fundamental topics: how to correctly choose a pigment shade for a client so that the healed result is an adequate and harmonious color that suits the client's color type. One can talk endlessly about Itten's color wheel and Fitzpatrick client types, but to use this knowledge competently, you need to understand a bit about the pigments you are working with. So, let's get down to business. We, permanent makeup artists, use various shades of brown for eyebrows. All shades of brown are derived from three primary colors according to Itten's color wheel: blue, red, and yellow. However, in eyebrow pigments, we cannot use blue as it gives too cool a shade. We strive for warmer shades on the eyebrows because when healing, any pigment becomes cooler, which is a property of our skin. Therefore, manufacturers of pigments for permanent makeup replace blue with black. Let's look at the visual difference between blue and black colors in the process of creating shades for eyebrows. And we will also visually confirm that brown cannot be made from just two colors. For this, a well-assembled puzzle of three colors is always needed. When mixing blue and red, we get a beautiful shade of pure purple color. When replacing blue with black, the shade becomes more burgundy, which can be quickly and easily turned into brown by adding the third ingredient, yellow. A mix of red and yellow creates a fiery orange. To turn it into brown, we add black, which gives the mix darkness and coolness. When we mix yellow and black, we get an olive color. To become brown, it needs red. If instead of black we use blue, then when mixed with yellow, it results in a bright grassy shade of green, which we cannot use in trial mixes. It turns out that all modern brown pigments for permanent makeup are composed of three colors: red, yellow, and black. And only the ratio of these colors determines the final shade, as well as the concept of the base or foundation of the pigment. There are three of them as well. The pigment can be based on yellow, orange, or red. We adjust the warmth and coolness of the shade for different phototypes, only by the ratio of colors. Now, the most important question: how do we decide when to use a pigment with a red base, when with an orange base, and when with a yellow base? The choice of pigment on a particular base depends on which natural pigment the client's skin lacks. Our skin contains many pigments, the main ones being carotene, hemoglobin, and melanin. They impart their shade to the skin, and then our task is to balance the skin, adding what it lacks. For example, olive-toned skin contains a lot of melanin and carotene, which means black and yellow. For such skin, it is necessary to choose a pigment with a red base. In the Hanafy palette, this is the set by Olga Kostenetskaya. In dark skin with red and purple undertones, there is a lot of melanin and hemoglobin, but little yellow carotene. Therefore, pigments with a yellow, or better yet, an orange base are suitable for her to neutralize the effect of dark and cool melanin. For fair European skin, pigments with a yellow base are suitable, as it has a lot of hemoglobin and little melanin and carotene. By the way, in our Telegram chat, you can always ask any question or seek advice regarding the selection of pigment shades for your clients. Currently, the Hanafy palette includes eyebrow pigments with yellow, orange, and red bases. Using these ranges, you can select a shade for absolutely any client for all types according to Fitzpatrick. But let's imagine for a second that you only have a basic eyebrow line with a yellow base at your disposal. It is quite versatile, suitable for every artist and most clients. But how do you create warmer shades from this pigment line, similar to those based on orange and red? It's simple. Add an orange corrector. For example, number 3, milk chocolate, plus an orange corrector, and the pigment becomes very similar to shade number 2 from the hair strokes line with an orange base. Number 5, black-brown plus corrector is similar to shade number 3 from Olga Kostanetskaya's line with a red base. Now let's discuss who the basic line in its pure form is suitable for. Number 1 golden blonde is for natural blondes with pale skin and light eyes. Number 2, dark blonde for medium and dark blondes with cool and light eyes. It can even be used as a corrector to cover the remnants of pink and orange eyebrows. Number 3, milk chocolate is for blondes and brunettes with warm eyes. Often used for mixing with other shades, it does not shift to cool tones. Number 4, dark brunette for brunettes with brown eyes. No. 5, black brown is the darkest shade for eyebrows, and in its pure form, it is suitable only for warm skin. So, if you have been listening to me carefully, you might have noticed that when describing each pigment, I constantly mention eye color. This is not a coincidence. Since the eyebrow and the eye should always form a harmonious and unified pair, therefore, when choosing a pigment for eyebrows, I highly recommend not only learning to see the colors under the skin tone, but also definitely taking into account the color of the iris. So, we have thoroughly discussed everything related to eyebrow pigment shades, the basic colors they consist of, and what pigments with yellow, orange, and red bases are, and who they are suitable for. Now let's talk about lip pigments. In addition to the colors we have discussed, they also contain a noticeable amount of white titanium dioxide and even purple and gray pigments. Let's take a detailed look at how the beloved pastel shades are created, which always look very nude and natural on healed lips. First, let's take the universally understood and familiar red color and add white to it, the very titanium dioxide that many artists are wary of. But the thing is, there is absolutely no need to fear it, because fear arises from misunderstanding and lack of information. Let's just think a bit more about how you can get the color pink from red without using the color white. Look at the delicate pink shade we achieved, and we can adjust its intensity precisely by adding titanium dioxide. If, on the contrary, we need a darker color, in this case, we add a microscopic amount of gray or sometimes even black. There is no need to be afraid of this. Only thanks to the presence of dark color in the composition of the pigments is it possible to achieve a rich burgundy shade, very similar to shades number 8 and number 4 from the Hanafy palette. And what to do when a client requests a more brown brick shade, for example, a cocoa shade. You won't be able to achieve such a shade without adding those scary pigments. It's just that in lip colors, their percentage is very, very small. An important tip. Never use eyebrow pigments to create such shades. Do not mix them with lip pigments. In even pigments, the content of the black component is dozens of times higher than what is necessary for lip shades. And pure black is almost never present in lips. It is either gray, blue, or purple pigment. So, adding eyebrow pigment can lead to the uncontrolled introduction of black color into the lips, and then the lips may take on a gray, unnatural shade. If we definitely need a cooler pigment shade, we add organic purple or blue, such as to the red. The classic red color will acquire a berry shade, fuchsia, or raspberry. It is cooler and lighter than mixes with gray or black. If you add white titanium dioxide to these dark mixes, where red is mixed with gray, or blue or purple, the pigments lighten but acquire completely different shades than when simply adding white to red. The color on the palette now is very similar to our shade number 6 from the Hanafy lip range. What is the difference between number 6 and number 2, raspberry from rose? It is the addition of gray color to the mix of shades. If you add white to red with purple, it becomes significantly lighter than our previous mix with black. But compared to the first mix, which only has red and white, this color will be significantly cooler due to the purple. Let's continue our discussion slightly. If a client has cool-toned lips and we need a warmer peach shade, we take the base we already know, red plus white, and we add a drop of yellow. If we need a peach shade instead of orange, we need to add more white. Such a warm color, warm and light, is not suitable for every pair of lips. It is very similar to shade number 3 from the Dark Lips line, which is specifically designed for working with dark lips to neutralize and cover the cool natural pigment in the skin. This shade is also well suited for working with vascular lips. Now just add a drop of yellow to the mix of red, white, and gray to warm it up. And we got a dark but slightly warmer shade. And here is the question: more. Why might artists be afraid of the presence of titanium dioxide or blue and purple in pigment compositions? The myth about titanium dioxide is as old as the world itself. Allegedly, white color settles into the skin like clay, looks unattractive, and remains in the skin forever, giving the lips a sickly yellow tint when the other components have long faded. This may be true, but only partially. For such an effect, you need to use a mix with a huge amount of white. That is why you should never work on lips with camouflage and areola pigments, which have a very high concentration of titanium dioxide. Additionally, you need to apply it to the skin as densely and lipstick-like as possible. White color has a very heavy molecule, it takes up a lot of space in the skin, and takes a long time to leave it. Therefore, the use of titanium dioxide in permanent makeup is absolutely necessary and safe when certain working rules are followed. Well, gray, blue, and purple components are usually feared, because people think that pigments with such ingredients will result in inappropriately dark outcomes. And again, one needs to understand the basics of color theory here to stop being afraid of it. Knowledge is power. So, if you are interested in more detailed studies of color theory and pigmentology, you can check out my online course on this topic. You can find out the details through this QR code. I am sure that this information was extremely useful for you. Therefore, be sure to like and comment so that we know the topic is relevant for you and we can create even more interesting and useful videos for you.